Let's see if all right. Good morning, almost good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. So, hello to all my replay viewers, those who are joining me live. I am excited. This is day one of our Goal Inspired Living Challenge. So, first, let me introduce myself. I'm Kenya Halliburton. I am an online business choreographer for women entrepreneurs who are emerging with big ambitions and complicated lives. And what I do is I work with these women to set up life-friendly and profitable businesses online. But today it's not about that. Today it is about um, learning how to not just set goals, but learning how to live our goals. So we are in the midst of an 8-day challenge. And this challenge is a part of a signature program that I co-created with my partner, Beverly Jones Durr. You may have been able to see us live yesterday with our kickoff. So before we kind of get into all that, again, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. And please, if you're joining us, please drop a hello in the comment section so we can say hello and we can interact with you. Hopefully during the interview, you can ask questions and interact with us. So feel free to leave your comments and your questions. And this is going to be a short conversation. So we are happy to engage with you in the comment section after we're finished. So really quickly, what is goal inspired living, or what is the goal inspired living system? So again, this is something that I co-created with a partner of mine, Beverly Jones Durr, and it's a process that's designed for women entrepreneurs with big ambitions and complicated lives to not just set goals, but also how to live them, so that we're not so focused on the destination, but we're also keeping in mind and paying attention to the journey and who we become along the way, right? So in this 8-day challenge, we are going to be taking you through something called the Wheel of Life. And we kind of talked through that yesterday. And the Wheel of Life is one of the first steps in our process for helping you basically take inventory based on where you are so that you can get to where you want to be. Because how many of y'all know we can't get to where we want to be if we don't know where we are? So for the next eight days, we're going to be having these conversations with amazing experts. And these experts are going to be from each of the 8 key categories in our Wheel of Life. So if you're wondering where to get this Wheel of Life, the link to grab this form, it looks like this. It's a simple 4-page worksheet, and it has the Wheel of Life. And basically, you're going to follow the instructions and use these interviews that we're going to be doing with these experts to kind of map out, get some clarity around how you can improve the different areas of your life so you can create balance. So our experts are going to be taking us through some of the mindset, the strategies and action plans that we can use to actually up level our life in a multiple range of areas. So to join the challenge, all you have to do is download this sheet and join the Shero Squad. All of those resources are in the live description of this live. So go ahead and grab that, and we're going to get started. So today we're kicking off talking about the area of spiritual wellness. This is one of the 8 key areas of our life. And I am excited to introduce to you our guest. Our guest today is Dorothy McDermott, and I'm going to read a little bit about her before we bring her on. Dorothy McDermott is a licensed professional counselor and owner of Fresh Start Counseling and a national certified counselor. She has a master's of science in counselor education and a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Jacksonville State University. And she is a certified Prepare Enrich facilitator for marriage counseling. She's worked professionally with at-risk children, adolescents, and their families since 2007. And as a substance abuse counselor for adults and adolescents, she has experience treating depression, anxiety, PTSD, and many other mental issues. and she is the owner, I did mention that, of Fresh Start Counseling. So I'm going to attempt to bring her on. And when I say attempt, that's just because, we're dealing with technology. Um, so Dorothy, I'm going to attempt to invite you. I'm going to make you a host so you can turn your camera on. So when you get that notification, go ahead and turn your camera on. If you can. And while we're trying to get Dorothy on, you all, oh, I see her. Yay.
Okay.
I see
Hello.
you. Hi, let me just make sure we're showing up on the other side. There's a bit of a delay. There you are. Oh, I love it when technology works. How are you, Dorothy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. So this has been a bit in the planning, in the making. So we're finally here. I'm excited to talk to you today about spiritual wellness. So let me kind of get us started. So before we kind of get into our questions, um, tell us about like what spiritual wellness looks like for you, because I know, and you all will find out what areas I'm struggling in, because I'm going to ask probably the most questions. But tell us what spiritual wellness looks like for you in your life and how you've come to kind of see it as something that's really critical for how you move and how you achieve things in your life.
Well, spiritual wellness for me is making time for myself, making time for contact with God, and fellowshipping with other people who believe what I believe, who can encourage me, as well as me encouraging them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
That's amazing.
could be different every day, but yes.
Yeah. I know spirituality for me and most people a lot of times is something that we know we need to do, and even we really even want to do, but for whatever reason it kind of gets put on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us kind of generally what your definition of the term spiritual means, because I know sometimes that can be a polarizing word for some people because it takes on different meanings for people. So explain to us what your view of spirituality or what spiritual means.
Spirituality, one of the best definitions I've heard is your connection to what you hold sacred, or your connection to what is of utmost importance to you. It is being concerned about your spirit rather than the physical, the natural, the material things. That's being connected to God as you understand Him, being connected to other people, and being connected to yourself.
That's good. So with spirituality, um, some people may feel like, well, I don't believe in God. So how do we handle that?
That's why I think that is the definition I gave is a good definition. It is whatever you hold utmost importance. I've worked with people for many years, especially when I did substance abuse, who didn't believe in God, who felt like God had abandoned them or whatever. And so we would say, you have to have a higher power. It'll help you in your recovery. And they would say, well, I don't have one.
Yeah.
So what we would suggest is find something that is important to you, like your family, your kids. Get connected to that first. I believe that in getting connected to other people, you will find God.
That's really good. So in your experience, we're talking about, go being being whole in these different areas of our life. And, I know this has been something that's been happening for me, and you all can chime in the comments and let me know if you've experienced this at any point. But sometimes it feels like we're disconnected, for those of us who feel like spirituality is important to us. We feel disconnected or we feel numb. And we focus a lot more on some of these other areas of our life for fulfillment. And a lot of times for me, I know it's backfired.
Mhm.
And it kind of puts us in a spiral. So talk about how poor or lack of spiritual connection can impact our lives.
Um, I'll start first, like with people who don't have a belief in God or who don't have like spiritual connection. Everyone suffers. Everyone goes through things, whether you are a believer in God, Christian, Muslim, Jew, whatever, everyone goes through suffering. And when you have a poor connection, your suffering is worse. When people are spiritually connected, what they have is hope. And so the hope helps them to endure. It helps them to push through during those hard times because they have a belief that it will get better. Those who don't have that connection struggle greater. They experience despair, which is a lack of hope or absence of hope. And that leads to even a more deep depression or anxiety.
Mm,
It's extremely important that you have a spiritual connection in your life because it will definitely assist you in those times of struggle.
I agree. I
Does
agree.
that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is, and it's so true.
Mhm.
Um, because like I said, like I know for me, when I abandon that, when I get away from that, either for whatever reason, I feel like I'm upset with God because I didn't get something that I wanted, or
Mhm.
whatever is going on spiritually. When we kind of kick and scream and throw a temper tantrum and just kind of
Mhm.
disengage and disconnect. For those of us who prize spirituality and who do have relationship, or like you said, whatever it is that's important to you, when you get away from those things, um it feels like you may be progressing for a minute. Like it feels like things may be moving in the way you want them for a minute, but it's like you don't see the build up that's happening until everything starts crumbling down. And then
Right.
do you find that these are the moments that kind of drive people to therapy, or at least should? Do you
Mhm.
find that this is kind of what happens, like when you're speaking with people, that they're at these
Mhm.
these breaking points where things have started to crumble and they need to find a way to pick up the pieces?
Yes, I would say 80 to 90% of my clients, one of the driving forces is low spiritual connection. Like I said, everyone goes through struggles, but most of the time when people end up on my couch, it's because they are not connected to God. They're not engaging in self-care. They're not
Mm,
engaging in spending time with God. They are just trying to do it all on their own. And that, that is futile. It
yeah.
won't work.
I like how you talked about you, because sometimes spiritually we think about God and God alone, or a higher power and a higher power alone, and we don't
Mhm.
factor ourselves into that equation. So I like
Mhm.
how you mentioned self-care as being a part of that spiritual connection. Now,
Mhm.
before we get into our other questions, I have to ask you, have you always been so spiritually centered, or has this
Mhm.
been something that you through kind of the hard knocks of life, have come to kind of develop an appreciation for being connected?
Um, I was raised in church,
Mhm.
but like I said, everyone goes through struggles. I've had my own personal struggles with depression and anxiety when I was younger. Depression and anxiety are things that don't just go away, but I definitely know how to manage it a whole lot better now.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm blessed that I haven't had some struggles that I've seen other people go through. I
Yeah.
definitely recognize that. And I am grateful that my life hasn't been as hard as it could have been.
Yeah.
As far as to say, like, have I always been spiritually connected? No. It's
Mhm.
a process. I'm not as connected as I could be, for sure. It's a daily daily growth. And sometimes I back up and, I make progress. And then sometimes I feel disconnected just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a growing process.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's important for all of you listening. We're talking about the wheel of life and these different areas of our life. And I think that it's important to understand that it is a process. Whether we're talking about spiritual wellness, whether we're talking about our finances, whether we're talking about business, it all is a process, and we're never going to achieve 100% balance. But I think, understanding the importance of being intentional and of being aware is the key, right? So
Right.
let's talk a little bit, because mindset is so important. And you talked about it being a daily process. So when you were talking about process, I think about routines and what we do on a daily basis and why that's important. So let's talk about the why of spiritual wellness. Like, why is setting time aside to feed our soul so important? Or how should we think about spirituality so that we don't neglect it?
Um, People who lack spiritual connection are kind of lost. They are wandering around, searching for it. And they often end up searching in all the wrong places. If it's drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, whatever it is that makes them feel good, and they keep doing that. But we have to remember that we are souls with bodies. We are not bodies that just so happen to have a soul or a spirit. So just like our bodies crave food, our souls crave the connection. Our souls crave connection with other souls, with God, the Spirit of God. We need to connect with our own spirit or soul. And so, it is important that we, just like we feed our bodies, we take the time to eat at least once or twice a day, if not 3 times or 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah. Guilty.
We take that time and we try, at the beginning of the year, drink more water, work out, all of those things. We need to also not neglect our souls. We need to feed our spirit.
Yeah.
It is important.
Yeah. I think, do you find that, I guess sometimes the challenge can be, out of sight, out of mind. So maybe sometimes we feel like, because we don't really see our souls, that it gets neglected, right? Like, we can see our bodies. Well, we can see that and we neglect that too. So I guess that
Right.
cancels it out. But you talked before, we spoke before, and you talked about mindfulness. Talk a little bit about mindfulness as a strategy for helping us become more spiritually well.
Mindfulness, it is the act of basically filling your mind with what you want to fill it with, like purposefully thinking about something. So I tell people it's simply training your mind to think about what you want it to think about. It is focusing on the present. So one simple mindfulness strategy that I teach adults and children is, I call it, it's named Sounds Around. And so you just close your eyes and you count how many sounds you hear. It's best done outside, but you just sit and you count. How many sounds do I hear? I hear the clock ticking. I hear the air running. I can hear my own breathing. And you're just focusing on the present. Mindfulness also can be applied to meditation. So just mindful meditation, focusing on a specific thought or a specific passage, scripture, poem, whatever, something positive, purposefully. And you're training your brain, you're training your thoughts, because oftentimes our thoughts will get away from us. We can have one automatic thought of, I'm a failure. And then we just run with it. We start thinking about all the times we ever failed rather than thinking, oh, I'm a successful person.
Yeah.
Even if you don't believe it yet, you can teach yourself to think that.
Yeah.
and run away with those thoughts instead of the negative. So mindfulness definitely helps to promote spiritual wellness. It helps if you are mindfully meditating on God as you understand him, if you're mindfully meditating on yourself, your own soul, or if you are focusing on others, even thinking about how you can help someone else. Mindfulness is just great all around. It helps with depression, anxiety. It's a stress reliever. It's great when you're angry to help you calm down. It's just great all around.
It sounds so wonderful, and it sounds so challenging because we live in this fast-paced world where we feel like we can't take a moment. And I was just thinking, like, as you were speaking, there's this mountain here, that I love. Like, it's so quiet. Like this, I don't know if you ever been to a place where it's so quiet that is loud.
Yeah.
And and I was just thinking, like, oh, this would be so amazing to go there and do that. Obviously, you can't do that every day, but I was wondering, like, would it be a great tool to practice when you are in the midst of, like maybe we can't close your eyes in the car when you're driving, but whenever you're in a place where you can, doctor's office, I don't know, where there's just a lot going on, to just kind of train yourself to be able to be still and get centered no matter where you are.
Right. There are many, many mindfulness techniques. That's one that I don't recommend you doing while you're driving. But like you could, if you are at the doctor's office, you could do what's called the rainbow connection. You could just sit and see if you can find one thing of every color. So you are focusing on the present and you're putting your mind on something on purpose. So you're looking, do I see something red? Do I see something orange? And so on. Or just seeing how many blue things do I see? Something else that I think of as one of my favorite verses is, whatsoever things are true, noble, right, pure, lovely. So that's scriptural and it's scientific. You are training your brain to think on good things. So, or true things, because when you're anxious, oftentimes our brain will start running with lies. What if I die right now? Well, what if you do? Then let's thank God for the life we've had. But when you think on something true, it could be anything true. It could be that the wall is gray, or that my phone is a rectangle. It's true. It's something to put your mind on purposefully. That's mindfulness.
I love it because it seems so simple. And even what we're doing with this challenge, like, printing out 4 pieces of paper and taking time each day to evaluate different areas of our life. It seems so simple that we feel like, oh, this can't be the thing that changes my life. This can't be the thing that, and when you're talking, like, I'm thinking about like my son's, elementary class that, these are things that you see teachers and things talk to their students. And these little exercises that they do, but they're effective when we're in kindergarten. They're effective, as adults. So I think that's really powerful. So walk us through where you're, getting to the end of time. So I want to make sure we hit all the points. Walk us through a little bit of how you incorporate spiritual wellness and connection into your life. What does that look like for Dorothy?
Well, like I said, it's different daily, but mostly it's prayer. I believe in praying without ceasing. I could be in the middle of a session and silently pray to God. Just short, simple prayers like, help me to say the right thing, or help me to help this person. But that's how I connect with God, through prayer, sometimes devotion, reading 1 or 2 scriptures, and there are many apps that have devotions on them. So I will, read an app and meditate on that. I connect spiritually through fellowship at my church, that I attend, fellowship with other therapists, just spending time with people. And meditation. When I pray, I like to meditate as well. Because I don't think that prayer is a conversation. It's talking to God. So I don't think that anyone likes to just be talked to. They want you to listen to what they have to say as well. So I pray, that's talking to God, and then I meditate, trying to hear back from him. So just meditating on his word, journaling, also helps me because, like I said, there was a time when I struggled with depression, and what I did to start to come out of that was journaling. So I would write just whatever I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes they ended up being prayers. And so I'd still do that. And music. Music is therapeutic for me. Listening to it, singing. I don't dance, but sometimes in the privacy of my own home, I might.
Right.
And spending time outside when the weather cooperates.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Those are really amazing points. I want to grab a comment from someone in the comment section. I want to say hello and welcome to Renee and Odessa. Thanks for joining us. Renee says that her challenge is staying focused. She starts good in the morning, but she loses focus by early afternoon. What advice do you have about maintaining focus?
Like prayer helps a lot. My job is so that often I will see people back to back. So I might have a different client every hour. I try to, in the middle, like in between clients, stop and have a moment, just to kind of take a deep breath. Then making sure that you take a lunch so that you can regroup. There is no sense in going all day without a break. So take a lunch or a 15-minute. Do you do that, Kenya?
You hear me laugh. It's a guilty laugh. That's an area I have to get better at. Yeah.
Right. So make sure that you have a break in the middle of the day and review your schedule during that break. So once you eat, take a couple deep breaths, have a moment of prayer, look over your schedule for the afternoon so that you can refocus and regroup just as you did in the morning.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. These are such kind of knowingly simple things. They're things that we could easily do, but they're things we skipped. I know as an entrepreneur, and a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to this, who just are working from home and setting their own schedule. A lot of times we skip breakfast or we skip lunch,
Right.
that we can get that extra little bit in, and it catches up with us. Like it's not a good thing. So these things are really good reinforcement. Renee says journaling has helped her a lot, and she loves listening to instrumental music. Yeah, so incorporate that into your daily life or your weekly life as much as possible. All right, so can you give us 1 to 3? You shared a lot of strategies with us already, but can you give us something to take away today to start creating a spiritual wellness routine? 1 to 3 little action steps that we can take to start improving this area of our life.
Well, connecting with God would be one. So through prayer, meditation, reading the Bible, any sacred text, those are ways to connect with God. Some people like to go outside. One of my most spiritual experiences ever was just outside in the woods, and I don't even like the woods.
Me either.
2 would be connecting with other people, fellowship. Like the Bible does say, to forsake not the assembly. And what that means is don't just turn away from a church fellowship just because somebody hurt your feelings 20 years ago. You need to make sure that it is important that you spend time with other people, other believers, that encourages you, that uplifts you. Whether you do that in a church every week or not, that's beside the point. But you need to make sure that you spend time with other people who believe what you believe. Volunteer, help others, laugh, spend time with other people. It feeds your soul.
Yeah.
And then the third is connecting with yourself. Do things that bring you joy. Take care of your body too, because even though you are a soul with the body, you are connected to that body. So take care of it. Go for walks every now and then. Try to eat as healthy as possible. A piece of cake every once in a while is not going to hurt you too bad if you don't have diabetes.
Yes.
But do things that bring you joy. Journal. Read what you wrote after you journal. I can't tell you exactly what to do to connect to yourself because we are all so unique, but do those things that bring you joy, that when you do them, you feel peaceful and calm. Also, lastly, speak positively to yourself. So if you struggle with doing that, Google positive affirmations and write down 1 to 5 of them. Put them on Post-it notes, stick them on your mirror, stick one in your car, stick one on the back of your phone or something so that you can, or put them on your wallpaper on your phone so that you can see them and repeat them to yourself. Even if you don't believe them yet, do those things.
Those are so good. So connect with God, connect with yourself, and what was the last one? Connect with others. Connect with others. So those were amazing points. So I hope that you all were taking notes. If not, you can go. And Renee's talking about lipstick color. She's so silly. Does Dorothy have a book?
No, she does not.
Not yet, right?
Not right now. I do have fresh conversations that we are recording. So I have a few episodes right now, and one will probably be released next week, hopefully.
Right. So yeah. So those were great points. So that kind of gives us into our closing. So yes, tell everyone how they can connect with you and what you have going on to help them, in their mental health and spiritual wellness walk and journey.
So I am a licensed professional counselor, and I have my own private practice. You can contact me through a freshstartcounselingservice.com. If you would like to have a session, I do offer video sessions. Just contact me to get more details about that. Aside from that, I have the Fresh Conversations that you can follow me on Facebook at A Fresh Start Counseling, or Instagram at A Fresh Start Counseling, and on YouTube at A Fresh Start Counseling. So other than that, that's about all I have going on right now. I'm pretty full with seeing clients daily.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about the Fresh Start, the Fresh Conversation series, so we can get more of your amazing wisdom and experience and talent. So we look forward to seeing that. And thank you so much for doing this and helping us up-level our spiritual wellness.
Well, thank you for inviting me to share, and I give God all the glory. Nothing, you said wisdom. If I have any wisdom, it comes from God.
Absolutely. I get it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you have additional questions, be sure to drop them in the comment section. We'll be monitoring that. So Dorothy and I, anything that comes up, I'm sure we'll be able to answer any ongoing questions. And stay tuned for next week. We have more amazing conversations with amazing experts like Dorothy to talk to us about how to improve the other areas of our life as well. But be sure to, if you didn't get some of the points, go back and watch the replay. Share this with anyone that you think can benefit from it, which is really, I believe all of us can. So share with as many people as you can. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend and have a great day. And we will talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.